Awesome. Well, welcome in here with one of my favorites. My guy, Selly Talks is what you know him at on X, CJ Arrington. CJ, it's a little chilly here in Maryland. It's polar bear weather that we hear as we had, the signing of Pete Alonso with the Orioles, so vibes all around here, with the Orioles. Welcome in, man. And I know we'll be talking about a little Ravens, not so good vibes, but any thoughts on the polar bear and the Orioles so far?
Oh, awesome. When you go into it, um, we kind of got hit with some deja vu with Schwarber about that. We matched him and we tried, but just not close, just not good enough. And everyone's just saying, "Oh, here we go with this again." And then they come through on Pete. So I'm excited, man. I'm hoping they're not done, but we got to give them an opportunity. So
For
good
sure.
move by Mike and crew.
For sure. Well, I got family here, and I was telling them this is my little office kind of area in here, and it's freezing cold. My cousin's like, "Well, why aren't you wearing sleeves?" I'm like, "Well, an ode to an ode to the polar bear. Plus, it was Arms Day today, so I got to be dedicated to the cause." But yeah, man. Hey, one of the best on X. If you guys want to give him a follow, absolutely. Very very objective. That's why I love having you all, man. So we'll just kind of start, I guess, with a little bit of the news here coming in with the Travis Jones extension. And, as anyone who follows me know, I mean, some of you call me a hater, but I just don't understand the excessive hype on some of these players. But Travis Jones being one of them, I think he's a good guy. And I guess I don't have an issue with it to begin with. And just looking at the AAV of it, I think he comes in somewhere around 25th or 26th at the position. So I guess you got to think really, really good value there. But I guess just thoughts on the Travis Jones, and does it signify to you that maybe the Ravens are just trying to run it back next year, which may or may not be a good thing?
One second.
Okay, yeah, all good.
Marco, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can't hear you. Hold on. I think got a call. I want to know what my. I'm going to try to leave and come back. Give me one
Okay,
second.
sounds good. Yeah, so if you guys are watching, obviously modern technology here, but yeah, the polar bear that press conference was absolutely amazing. And I'm not a big press conference guy because they're going to say all the right things, and oh, here's why I signed here, and he signed here. Part of the reason was because he was offered 155 million dollars, for 5 years. But all right, so it looks like we got him back.
Okay. Sorry, my bad, Marco.
No, you're all good. Okay, yeah. So technical difficulties,
Yeah,
man. It happens.
but
It
so
happens.
Travis Jones extension.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
so I guess just my thoughts on it. I mean, people act like on X, and we know the unrational people that he's like prime Aaron Donald over here. I don't understand the hype of the player, but I think given that I think he's 25 or 26 in AAV now based on this contract, I don't have an issue with that. But it kind of signifies to me that are the Ravens just going to run it back with this and the Andrew signing? It seems like kind of that might be the case, and I don't know, we'll talk about things possibly going south, but I don't know if running it back is necessarily the best idea right now. But I guess what are your overall thoughts on the extension?
I think that this extension could be overcompensation for losing Mads. I don't want to comment too much on that because I don't have sources. I'm
Right.
not plugged in. Like I don't have any real information regarding the situation with Matabike. But to me, this seems like them wanting to at least lock up one potential option to stabilize something up front because the icing is pretty much on the cake. They're gonna have to add at least 3 to 4 guys to that room next year. I mean,
Right.
Urban is what Urban is. He's a yearly July signing. Um, you know what you're getting from him.
Yep.
Like he's gonna try to block field goals and he can play rotational snaps, but you're not starting Brent Urban in 2025. You're not doing it. Um, you lose Mad, so now you're bringing up young guys like Okoye and Peebles, who has been inactive a little bit, but and then you bring Topu back from the practice squad, but you have to rebuild that room. So I think that this is them just saying, okay, we don't have it all figured out now, but we can at least figure this out. So I don't mind it on that front. But to your point about running it back, we know that the Ravens never employ a lot of guys that they just simply don't like. They never do
Right.
that.
Right.
So running it back is always kind of in the plans because they usually employ guys that they have a high level of respect for, even if they're not sought after throughout league circles. We have the term "play like a Raven" for a reason. I mean, that's now in LA too because they have half their roster are former Ravens, to some degree, whether it was practice squad guys or whatnot. I mean, Tony Jefferson's having a career year there at 30, whatever, however old he is,
Yeah.
and he's having a career year. You know what I mean? So, the play like a Raven thing is definitely always in effect, and I just think that they always keep a nice stable of guys that they like, and those guys will always be on a Ravens roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's to me, and I mean, props to you for obviously not speculating anything on Matt Buke, but I mean, we're all smart enough to kind of figure out that the writing is probably on the wall. And sadly, I mean, you don't want a player's career to end like that. And first off, we want him to get healthy and live a normal life. Obviously, a neck injury is very, very scary, but the writing is on the wall there. Even though we don't have official sources, we just hope he has, you know, is fine,
A
and
normal
can get
life
over some of the
after
injury.
this.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
if he decides to have kids, I want him to be able to, lift his kids up if they win a
Yeah,
baseball tournament or something. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
you don't want to rob them of that moment all because
Right.
we want to talk football on Twitter. Like,
E- e-
I'm not an idiot.
Exactly. Yeah, and I guess to your point here, so a lot of the kind of signings that where I kind of scratch my head on it, and you're exactly right with, hey, they need to do something, and you're coming in a much better spot now if you have Travis Jones locked up versus if you didn't. But the money needs to go to this offensive line, right? And we talked, and we'll talk a little bit about obviously what Lamar's cap number is and kind of everything, which we talked about. God, it was back before the Bears game that we last did this, but
Yeah.
you know, people celebrating these signings just realize you can't sign everybody, right? So
No.
unless you're drafting an offensive line, you're not going to bring in anything of substantial quality if you're locking up guys like Travis Jones that, quite frankly, are a good player, but
Not great. Yeah, not great player.
yeah, and if you have your franchise quarterback, what is more important to you, the offensive line or this? So that's my only kind of thing with the Travis Jones signing, and with that, I don't have an overall problem with that. I was talking to our boy Snacks, and it's just like we both don't understand the hype on him. And I mean, I think he's a good player, but if he had tested free agency and he had left, I wouldn't have been like, oh my God, he can't compete
No,
without Travis
because if he
Jones.
leaves, that means that he probably got overpaid. And like I told you on the Bears podcast, I'm always pro player. Make as much money as you can while you can make it. If the
Absolutely.
Carolina Panthers are going to give you $90 million to stuff the run on first and second down, hey, take it. I mean, come on. What are we talking about? Don't be loyal. What do you want? Loyalty or $90 million?
Right.
I mean, you got to do what you got to do. So, yeah, I feel the same way. If he tested free agency and some team just gave him a gigantic contract, you were meant to lose that guy. Let it
Right.
go.
Yeah, and one thing, and I think CJ, we're a little bit ahead of the game because we had kind of talked about this and hinted at this like when we were on right before the Bears game. And I mentioned trading Lamar Jackson. I'm not a big proponent of it has to be done, right? But you're hearing some rumblings now coming out with Jeff Zrebeck, who I really, really respect, who kind of hinted at Lamar playing hurt and, you know, this and that, and like what happens if he doesn't restructure and, everything like that. And then you're hearing Nick Wright and other people say it seems like Lamar is a little bit checked out. This team, man, it could be at a crossroads here. And I don't think people realize like when you're paying your quarterback 70 something $1 million, if he doesn't restructure, and fingers crossed he does, and it would be a smart move for him too. But he is in every right to not do that, right? He is in every right to take his money, and especially if he feels like he was playing hurt and the team wasn't supporting him for whatever reason, if he doesn't want to restructure, that's on him. But if he doesn't, you're screwed.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
don't I don't like to be think that I'm a salary cap expert. There's people who know far more than me, but just what are your thoughts on let's say things go sideways, and we'll talk about a little prediction for the rest of the season. But let's say they missed the playoffs, right? Everybody's a year older. Derrick Henry's a year older. All the people, Mark Andrews a year older. You're losing Likely. You might be losing Linderbaum. What do they do with Lamar? I mean, what is that conversation like, on EDC's end, and what do you think it is like on Lamar's end if he doesn't want to restructure? Kind of what would you do in that situation if you're DaCosta?
I think that is the first pin that has to fall this offseason, just because it gives you a clear plan. You would want to know what it will take to either get him to restructure or extend, because that's really where your money is going to be tied up. So if he that's not done, you can't do anything else, because yeah, you can go and buy that guard in free agency, but what happens if we're in August and Lamar's not at training camp and he won't talk about extension or restructure? I mean, what are you going to go in 60 million over the cap?
Right,
I mean, we're not the New Orleans Saints.
right,
So you have to be, and we know that the Ravens love to be cap compliant at the least. I mean, I know it was a joke a few years ago that, I mean, the Ravens always spend up close to the cap, but I think we had like something like 60K in cap. And it's just like,
right,
dude,
yeah,
there's some dude on this website right now that has more money than the Ravens do.
right,
But
right.
I think that is the first pin that has to fall, because it just gives you an idea of what you can and can't do with everything. Second behind it, I think it has to be a decision on Linderbaum, because that's the difference between you looking for a starting center, starting right guard, and preferably a starting left guard, with Voorhees as well. But, and I don't know what you feel about Lindy, but for me, I want to give him a real chance at earning bigger money without restricting him with the worst guard tandem in the league. Like, give him. I'm not saying that you're supposed to build a wall in one off season, but if you can give him adequate guard play on just one side of him, because he's already an undersized center. So if you just get him one guy who can kind of free up some of that pressure in the middle, I want to see him play then, and then we judge him accordingly. If you're still getting your ass handed to you, then yeah, I don't think you should make more money than Creed Humphrey, because
Right.
Creed Humphrey is just a dog. I love his game. He doesn't care who's in the middle. I don't know if he could have handled Vince Wilfork the way he handles some of these guys, but it's a different game today. But he's earned his contract. I don't know if Linderbaum right now can reset the market with a guy like Creed. I think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I think Linderbaum is good, but I would like to see more before that's a market setting deal. But so to stay on topic, those two contract situations are definitely one and number two on the totem pole, because then that really gives you the idea of what the rest of the offseason will look like.
And you're right. And my thoughts on Linderbaum is I don't really pay attention to offensive linemen until they're gone, and it's kind of like obviously we see the gaps that we have at guard, but until people are running right through you don't really appreciate what a center does. You know what I mean? So I'm
No,
kind of like I don't know what's a good contract for a center and what's not. I'm almost just, hey, if you could keep him, keep him.
yes,
But at the same time, to your point, if it's astronomical money, no. But I guess just more on the Lamar thing, and I mean it's a very very interesting kind of dynamic. And we all thought it was cute when he didn't have an agent, right? Like his mother's his agent. Is he getting the best advice from someone that says, hey, if you don't restructure when you're done, like with this deal, who's going to pay you that kind of money at 2 years older? If you're starting to decline a little bit, and yes, he is, he's a little hurt, but like he's not going to be the 41-4 again. Like he's just not. Like common sense tells you that. What are those teams going to do? Now, there's going to be a team that's going to come out and be like, hey, it's Lamar Jackson. He's still a dynamic player, and he is. Um, he'll still be an effective player, and we want to put butts in the seats. But would it be prudent for Lamar's career to kind of do that? And then counterpoint, if you don't restructure and you extend here and it's still not a team-friendly deal, you're going to be playing with a bunch of guys that might be getting you hurt and
yes,
all this other stuff. So it's a very, very uncomfortable situation. And for the people that think that, to your point, like, is Lamar going to talk about it? Well, we didn't hear anything about it. He was very mute about it until all of a sudden he requested a trade a couple of years ago. And even to EDC's point, he had no idea that Lamar was coming back until he got the FaceTime and said, "Hey, let's do this. I'm coming back." Right. And ultimately, I think he's going to restructure. You kind of have to. I think he likes being here, but without that person to kind of advise you on, hey, you got to think about your career here, and you're already making this amount of money. You're not going to be 23 or 24 anymore. We always heard, hey, Lamar's younger than this person in the league. He's not anymore. He's banged up. There's wear and tear on the tires. It's going to be quite the conundrum, and I just want people to be prepared for possible life without Lamar Jackson. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be a very uncomfortable offseason. It's not going to mean that the wrong decision is made if they do part ways with him, because you might be able to then bring in other pieces. And you see teams win with worse quarterbacks all the time because their team is built, a certain way. Where, I mean, look at Joe Burrow right now. He's talking about retiring because his receivers got paid and he got paid, and that's the nature of the business in the NFL. You can't pay everybody. So if your quarterback is costing you a certain amount of money and he's produced, but it hasn't produced you the playoff wins that you want, what is going to change if you're paying someone now $30 million more? Just kind of food for thought there. And I mean, I'm not advocating trading him unless, I mean, you could get someone to take kind of that deal, but it's just people out there, I think, need to prepare for life without Lamar Jackson. And remember that the Ravens were successful without him. It's been amazing watching him. I mean, that, he's an unbelievable player, and it's insane. And I hope that they could get in the playoffs this year and give it a real run, and he can get to have the playoff success in case he does leave here. But it's just like, it's interesting. So, like you said, do you think these next four games will be telling at all? Like, I mean, do you think missing the playoffs will change Lamar's mind at all, or change DeCosta's mind? And like, do you think it would signify the end of Harbaugh? Does it depend if the games are close to you? Like, what do you think is going on right now? Because we have a convenient fallback of, hey, Lamar missed 3 games. He's been playing hurt, so we can run it back next year and things will be better. Like, what is your thought on that? Let's say they finish, they win one of their next 4 and miss the playoffs. Like, what happens? What do you think the mindset is?
What's going to save them and Harbaugh and the whole regime is they have the injury excuse, because quality starters did miss multiple games. The quarterback missed, what was it, 3 games, 4 games?
Oh, sorry, I accidentally removed myself from the stage. Sorry about that.
I lost your audio a little bit, bro. I can't hear you right now.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, what about now?
Yeah, no, I can't hear you.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. Give me 1 sec.
No,
Sorry. All right. Let me get back out and come back in. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what's good. Yeah, no, I got you, bro.
Hold on. Do you have me? Can you hear me now?
It might be your AirPods.
Okay, hold on. Give me 1 sec.
No, I still don't have it.
All right, hold on.
Nope.
All right, so a lot of difficulties here. Can you hear me better now? Nothing?
No good.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing.
All right. Are we good? No? Okay, hold on. I'm going to come back out and come back in.
All right, okay.
All right. Sorry about that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I still don't have you, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, we might need to.
I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
Yeah, we might just need to
Let me
end
see
it
if it's
then.
me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I still can't hear you, bro. I don't know what's
Okay.
going on.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Hold on.
Sorry. Let's just log out. Hold on.